We are back with Mariah, and we are talking about self-defense. She teaches self-defense classes for women, but as you just mentioned, you have a lot of different clientele. I love that you started with is just number one, I think having this conversation, being aware of our surroundings, following your gut. But we also want to take it one step further, and if we are taking a class with you and we're talking about self-defense skills, what does that entail?
Well, there's a lot of different components. So we make sure that, yes, people understand different offensive strategies, but also defense. And then two, it's body mechanics, leverage. And when we look at two arms and two legs, we can compare that to a table. We all know that if one leg of a table is taken away, the table becomes weak. It's the same thing when we look at control, hand and wrist control, different components where if we are able to get wrist control on an individual who may be grabbing us, at that point we are taking away a weapon. Now, when I say that, we're not taking away a knife, we're not taking away a gun. We're taking away a possibility to be striked with a punch, an elbow, or any of those components. So it's control. So we go through different scenarios where it's either stay and play or flee. When it's stay and play, I guess the best way to explain that is if somebody is running in the country, there isn't an escape, there isn't help close by. At that point, we have to learn how to offensively take care of ourselves. But now, if we're in a parking lot, help is nearby, we want to make sure that we transition so that we are able to flee and get to a safe scenario. So we will go through different things of how to escape a choke, different things in regards to wrist control. If we're taken down to the ground, how do we get in transition from being flat on our back in a compromising position to getting either A, upright to a standing position so we can run, or so that we're in a better optimal position. So we go through those different components. And what I really want to address is there have been a lot of females that have experienced trauma. So the key thing is anytime that something feels like it is going to be a trigger, whether it was a choke or a different position, we acknowledge and say, okay, at this point, if you need to sit by the side, if you need to take a deep breath, step out for a second, we want them to do that because literally, 9 times out of 10 in every single seminar, there has been a female that has experienced, whether it's domestic violence or some type of trauma. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to those as well.
And I think especially with recently the whole Me Too movement, it really opened up everyone's eyes as to how often women are victims of different situations. And so, just kind of like go over some of the basics. If the first thing you're in a parking lot, not to give away too much of your seminar you have coming up, but you're in a parking lot, someone comes up to you and you just kind of feel like it's a little creepy, it's not right, you're not liking it. What are some of the first things that someone should do?
First and foremost, they should be scanning the area. Where are the exits? Who is close by? And then from that component, making sure that they have adequate space between them so that they can transition to a different area. They should also be identifying. So the key thing is, I think far too often people, they're scared to call the police if something feels uncomfortable. The police would rather have details sent to them because what if this particular individual in the parking lot has been in other parking lots as well? So the more that they have, the better that it is going to be to build that report. So I guess the key thing is the situational, keeping space is huge. And then two is if somebody does come close, each scenario is going to be different. And so it's really hard to break down what to do next unless I'm physically in front of that individual. But again, we go through different ways of leverage, different ways to utilize their body weight against them and in benefit of us so that we can get to a safe scenario.
Now, you have an event coming up here on Saturday. Can you tell us a little bit about what will be happening, how people can get signed up for it?
You bet. So we have one coming up March 6th, and that is at the Hillsborough Event Center. So each seminar is 4 hours in duration. So we have quite a few. I have 4 that are actually coming up. So if they're interested in signing up, you can go to MPX Fitness Fargo on our Facebook page. The registration link is there, or they can contact us 701-293 0002. And then for individuals who may not live close to the Hillsborough area, we do have another one coming up March 28th at the Rusted Recreation Center, April 4th at MPX Fitness, which is located inside of Fit Elements. And then April 11th, we have one at Mojo Fit Studios. So there's a lot of different potentials for people to attend. The key thing is we want to empower, educate, and enhance the lives of women so that they understand that it's all about power. Isn't about being above somebody. Power is about empowering yourself so that you have the knowledge that you need to live a safe, healthy, and happy life.
And so on top of everything you do, also quick mention, you're a podcaster. Where can people find that? What is it called?
You bet. So it's called Define the Fight. So every Wednesday morning from 7 to 9 a.m., it's on 95.9 FM. So we have a variety of different guests. And coming up this week, we have two females that have experienced trauma, including a former police officer that will be speaking about their story and how they overcame and continue to work through the trauma that they experienced throughout their life.
Oh, eye-opening. I love what you do, empowering women, and just having this conversation, sometimes I feel like is the first step in this whole process. So Mariah, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up here on today's show, more fun and fitness, I believe. Yeah, that's coming up next. We have a Quartz Plus instructor that can tell you what you need to work on just by looking at your form. You'll want to stick around for that.